Happy New Year! What's going on, everybody? My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Lovely to have you along for the ride. That was atrocious yesterday. Absolutely atrocious. And I hope that, you watched that game, you got over it quickly, and I hope you went out and just partied your asses off last night. Just had yourselves an absolute ball where you got to forget about it, perhaps drowned your sorrows like some of us, and move on from this horrendous ending to this Eagles once very hopeful regular season. When they sat at 10-1, I remember thinking at that time, right before the gauntlet of games against the 49ers and all that, and they'd already gone through some games there and had some success, and that was nice. But when they were facing the 49ers, most notably, that was the game that they were the most ill-prepared for, so to speak. That was a horrendous, eye-opening reality check. And then they went into Dallas, and then they got stomped by Dallas. And you thought, oh, maybe they'll fight their way out of this. Maybe they'll find some way to bounce back. And then they found a way to blow it against Seattle. And then they barely get by the Giants. And then Jonathan Gannon comes to town. And I had said leading up to this game, for the last couple of weeks, ever since Derek Gunn put that report out about how the Eagles were predictable, the worst possible person to face while you were being predictable was the guy that could probably predict your next move better than anyone in the entire NFL, and that's Jonathan Gannon. And I had said that, he spent the last 2 years watching the Eagles, practicing against the Eagles, game planning with the Eagles, and all that fun stuff. And then, wouldn't you know it? Jonathan Gannon dropped the gauntlet in front of Nick Sirianni. And I understand that the Cardinals defense, Jonathan Gannon's defense, didn't have a great game against the Eagles. Not the point. Not the point. Because the Eagles defense got absolutely torched. Matt Patricia's Sean Desai's defense absolutely got torched, ran over, steamrolled by James Conner and that Arizona Cardinals offense. Which is terrible, by the way, but not against the Eagles yesterday. And Jonathan Gannon, when push came to shove, the biggest play of the game, the biggest moment in the game, Jonathan Gannon, his Cardinals score the game-tying touchdown to knot things up at 28-28. He looked over at the other sideline, saw his old boss, Nick Sirianni, and said, you know what? Dropped the gauntlet in front of him and went for the onside kick and said, I double dog dare you to beat me. Put me away. Step on my throat. End this. Lock up the game for yourself. And Nick Sirianni botched it. He gave the Eagles the ball with an onside kick. They had to go, 40 yards? Be able to get in the end zone, make something happen. They go with a couple of run plays, don't get anything from it. They have one pass with Jalen Hurts, able to get a big gain. You're thinking, all right, here we go. This is where they're going to put him away. And then they get the holding call on Jordan Mailata. They go with runs. And then they go to the screen. Now, mixed into all of this is sheer and utter confusion with Julio Jones, who, by some act of God, had his first 2-touchdown day in 3 years. And you see him running off and on the field. I think it was Jack Stahl running on and off the field. And you see the offense looking at Brian Johnson like, what the hell is going on? What are we doing here? Brian Johnson trying to get the right personnel in. They also have to burn a timeout, by the way. And when they burn a timeout, they come out with a screen to Kenny Gainwell with Devontae Smith, Skinny Batman, blocking on that screen. Eagles look confused. Eagles call a horrendous play. Eagles lose Devontae Smith for however much time. He was on crutches after the game. I believe also in a walking boot after the game. We got to wait to see the final results. But from everyone I have spoken to, it does not look good at all. And in that moment of the game, after they're able to knot things up at 28-all, Jonathan Gannon says, I double dog dare you to beat me. Gives the Eagles the ball on the Arizona 39-yard line. DeAndre Swift goes up the middle for a yard. That's where the injury happened. The Cardinals have to take a timeout. It's a 2nd and 9. Hurts is able to drop back, and he finds A.J. Brown for 18 yards. You move it up to the 20-yard line. You get the holding call on Jordan Mailata. You set up the 1st and 20. They go Hurts off tackle. He only gets 4 yards. Then Hurts rolls to his right, gets taken back for a -3. They have to burn the timeout, and during that process, they have no idea what the hell they're doing. And then they come out in the 3rd and 19 with the screen to Kenny Gainwell. Jonathan Gannon, if he wasn't doing it in actuality yesterday, was probably sitting back and laughing. I challenge you to beat me. I challenge you to put me away. And the Eagles choked. The Eagles choked. After the game, Jalen Hurts talked about how much Jonathan Gannon knew about their offense. He talked about how in that moment, oh man, this guy has been in our meetings for the last 2 years. He's been practicing against us. He's been in our building. Jalen Hurts knew. The advantage was clear, and I knew it going into the game, and I told you about it going into the game. The advantage was clearly in the favor of Jonathan Gannon because, oh, well, it goes both ways. We know him, he knows us. Yeah, you only know him. You only know the Jonathan Gannon version of the Eagles. That is the Eagles version of Jonathan Gannon, where he was still coaching as a defensive coordinator for an employer, doing what they wanted more so than what he wanted. Now he's got free reign out in Arizona. He can do whatever the hell he damn well pleases. You know what he did yesterday? He walked across the field, slapped you in the face, and said, I challenge you, I double dog, I triple dog dare you to put me away and beat my team. He couldn't do it. Eagles choked it away at that point. Other than that series and that possession, that second to last possession of the game, I didn't have a huge problem with what the Eagles were doing. The offense barely had the ball. The offense is not my worry and not my concern at this point in the season. Without Devontae Smith, that is a concern. But as far as this particular game goes, the Eagles' defense got torched. James Conner with 128 yards on the ground. Are you serious? Time of possession because they were able to control the game by running the football. Oh my goodness gracious. Eagles didn't have a chance. And still somehow magically they put up 31 points in this game. 7 of those credit to the defense thanks to Sidney Brown's 99-yard touchdown reception. If I would have told you before the game, Sidney Brown's have a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown, and Julio Jones has 2 touchdowns in a game, that's a game the Eagles, because it's like, how much did A.J. Brown get? How much did Devontae Smith get? What did DeAndre Swift get on the ground? If I tell you all that, oh, wow, no way the Eagles lose that game. No, they lost that game. They choked that game away. And I'll say this, the offense choked at a huge spot. The defense just, is it choking if you're just terrible throughout the game? I don't think it is. I think it's just you suck. I think that's what it is. This defense sucked yesterday. And if I got to point blame at anybody, here's what's so disheartening about this loss. Most games, you could say, well, if you had better personnel, if Howie Roseman did this, then you'd be better. So I don't like going to the front office a lot. But here's my issue. Yesterday, you could look at Matt Patricia and go, what the hell are you doing? You could look at Matt Patricia's play calling in yesterday's game and his design in yesterday's game. And you could say, wow, Sean Desai allowed, 5 straight touchdowns to the San Francisco Giants? Excuse me. San Francisco 49ers? 5 straight, was it? 5 straight possessions? And then Matt Patricia allows 4 straight touchdowns on 4 straight possessions to the Arizona Cardinals? I could see doing it. I could see doing it to teams like the Cowboys and the 49ers. I can see that. I can't see it again. So now what? Do you fire Matt Patricia? Do you then put Sean Desai back on the sideline? What do you do here? Because when you panic the way you did and put Matt Patricia in that role, you put him in a real tough spot. All right, now you're going to call plays for somebody else's defense. That seems weird. You also put a lot of these players in a tough spot, especially the players that don't have a lot of experience under their belt. You're calling on Ben Van Sumeren now to have 2 defensive play callers. Shaq Leonard's been here for like 4 weeks, and he's had 2 different defensive play callers in that span. That's not great. That's not great. And also, he's being called upon to do more than he was supposed to in this defense because you don't have any other healthy linebackers. So you look at Matt Patricia, you get angry, but then you say, why am I angry at him? This guy's put in a tough spot. I should be angry at the front office for putting him in that spot. I should be angry at the front office for clearly seeing a guy that has a lot more experience and a guy you can trust a little bit more because of his experience and resume than Sean Desai as your defensive coordinator. You look at those 2 guys, you look at those 2 resumes, and you go, oh, gee, who should I have here as my coordinator? It's kind of obvious it should be Matt Patricia, and maybe if Matt Patricia started things out the season having a lot more power than he had as a senior advising consultant of the defense, whatever, then maybe he'd be in a little bit of a better spot than, being thrust into this role. Then you look at Sean Desai and say, well, he wasn't great either. Like, who knows if he would have had a better performance yesterday. I don't know if he would have allowed 4 straight touchdowns to the Cardinals. I'd like to think he wouldn't have. But then you keep on peeling it back and say, well, how much of a role does Nick Sirianni have in this? And I think, well, you know what? Nick Sirianni was hired here because, let's face it, he could be controlled. And if you have a head coaching job sitting there waiting for you, are you going to pass up on a head coaching job? I don't think so. So he takes the job here in Philadelphia. The Eagles know what they're getting in him. They know they have a guy that doesn't have any experience as a head coach, has no resume as a head coach. He's a guy that the Eagles can control. Why do they want that guy? Because Howie Roseman can control him, and Jeffrey Lurie can easily sway that guy. So watching this team, it's not just I'm mad at the players on the field. It's not just that I'm mad at the defensive play caller. It's not just that I'm mad at the head coach. I'm mad at the general manager. I'm mad at Jeffrey Lurie. This is an organizational loss yesterday. And when it comes to just being mad and throwing blame around, it's not just on the coaches. It's not just on the players. And I know those are the 2 most common things you could blame, but it goes beyond that. Far beyond that. Howie Roseman has tried to help this defense. Bringing in Kevin Byard, okay. He's tried to help this defense by bringing in Shaq Leonard, who's supposed to be a role player, not a starter on this team. Nakobe Dean going down in the early goings of the season, not great. Trying to bring in other guys, hasn't really worked out. Zach Cunningham, when healthy, has been great, but he hasn't been healthy. He's certainly been a lot better than anything else they put on the football field as a linebacker this season. It's an organizational loss. And what really bothers me also, and I understand the time of possession, and I understand they didn't get a lot of plays off in this game in the early goings of it, but I do need it to be explained to me here. You threw the ball 14 times, you ran the ball 7 times. Okay? In the first half. DeAndre Swift had 5 carries in the first half. I understand that when you break it down, that seems like a lot considering they barely had the ball, but the percentages are way off there. You're going up against the worst, I'll say it one more time, the worst run defense in the NFL. The worst. And you have this offensive line graded as the number 1 offensive line for I don't know how many weeks in a row by Pro Football Focus. The number 1 offensive line in football with DeAndre Swift running behind him. And he gets 5 carries in the first half. Throw the ball 14 times, running only 5 times with DeAndre Swift. Not great. That's not a recipe for success. And then they asked Nick Sirianni, hey, how were they able to control the clock so much? Well, they were able to control the clock by running. Oh, no way. Does Jonathan Gannon and his coaching staff, do they have, the analytic department in their ear with as much force and power as they do here in Philadelphia? In those, those Tuesday meetings where they kick around ideas? Well, what happened to this part of the game? What happened to that part of the game? Well, why'd you run the ball? When you could have passed it? No, thank you. No, thank you. This was a game that DeAndre Swift was supposed to eat. And by the way, you don't really start feeding the beast that can be DeAndre Swift until late in the third quarter and early in the fourth quarter. In that one drive that they were able to put together from the third to fourth quarter, DeAndre Swift ran the ball 6 times on that drive. 6 times on that drive. It resulted in a 13-play, 70-yard drive that ended in a touchdown. The second for Julio Jones. It's mind-numbing watching this football team right now. And they'll say things, and you'll hear them. We'll clean things up. We still have confidence. Not worried. All that stuff. This team is a lost football team. It's a broken football team right now. And the thing is, it's not just one player choking plays away. It's not like atrocious quarterback play. Jalen Hurts played a great game yesterday. 118 passer rating in the game. The defense was atrocious. And what was Matt Patricia supposed to do? This is fireable. That offense, 4 straight touchdowns. 128 yards on the ground gained. Absolutely atrocious. Couldn't get off the football field. They went through a part yesterday in the second quarter, I want to say, third quarter, where they had 19 plays run. Third and fourth quarter. 19 plays run, folks. 19. They faced one third down in 19 plays. When they scored 7 and then 8 for 15 points when they got the 2-point conversion, they made it 21-21. And in the midst of that, coming out of the gate there in the third quarter it was, they ran 19 plays, put up 15 points, amassed 152 yards, and faced one third down in that stretch. Does that look like a defense that's prepared? Hey, again, I know you got Shaq Leonard on the field. I know you got Ben Von Sumeren on the field. I know you got Eli Ricks, who's actually played a lot better over the last couple of weeks. You have Keely Ringo, who's played great, and that was a bull, absolute 100% bull pass interference call on him. If anything, it was offensive pass interference. But I'm not going to harp on that because the Eagles just sucked yesterday, but I'm not going to harp on one bad call. Even though, wow, what a weekend of bad calls. But I understand you don't have necessarily the best players on the field at the time, but good God, man. 19 plays, one third down faced. And it wasn't even like in the early goings of the game they were doing anything spectacular trying to stop third down conversions. The Cardinals were taking every inch of an advantage against the Eagles. And here's what's really crazy. You go over from Sean Desai to Matt Patricia, and you do that in large part because, 5 straight touchdowns against San Francisco 49ers, and then 4 straight touchdowns here against the Arizona Cardinals. Then you also couldn't get off the field on third down throughout the season with Sean Desai. Couldn't really do much of that yesterday either with Matt Patricia. Hell, during that 19-play series, over 2 series, 19 plays. Over that time, they did the Eagles a favor. They say they can't even get off the field on third down, so why even get the third down? We'll do them a favor. You don't even have to see a third down. That won't have to haunt you on this because we're just going to have 1st and 10, 2nd and 2, 1st and 10, 2nd and 2, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 3, 1st and 10. Who gets fired next? Because this is atrocious. You can't fire anyone. You got 1 game left in the season. Yeah, they fired the defensive play caller, demoted their defensive coordinator, stripped them of power of play calling to get better. Right? You don't make that drastic of a move to get worse. That was a move I said at the time. This is so bonkers, crazy that this has to work. Because there's really no other reason for it. This has to work. If you're going to do this right now at this point in the season, there's no other option than this has to work. It better be the right move. If you're going to make this crazy of a move, it better be the right one. Wrong. It was just as crazy and just as stupid. Because you know what it did? It's a loser's mentality. A lot of times you just got to ride the horse that brung you. And Sean Desai, through all his struggles, through all his faults, that's the guy at the beginning of the year. Even before the season started, we need a defensive coordinator. That's the guy, Sean Desai. Well, really, you got that Matt Patricia fella right over there. That's Sean Desai. Fired him after you had a run here. You're coming up on the Seahawks. You're coming up on the Giants. Coming up on the Cardinals. You're coming up on the Giants again. Sean Desai wasn't good enough to finish out the season against those guys. You rather make a change at that point? Seth Joyner made a great point on the post-game show. If you're a defensive player, how do you have confidence in your scheme? How do you have confidence in your play caller? This guy he was up, now he's here, he's telling me he's in my headset? What? This is ridiculous. It was a panic move by the organization, and it really just proved at that moment that they were in quicksand. And where are they right now? Still in that quicksand. They got one nostril above the line of the sand right now as they struggle, and they're just dying for someone to just give them a branch to pull them out. It's absolutely atrocious, absolutely embarrassing, and I can't believe the football that I've been watching over the last couple of weeks. Quicksand, 1-4 in their last 5 games to end the season here. And they got the Giants, 4:25, by the way, it was announced late last night. 4:25, they'll kick off with the Giants on Sunday to round out their season and hopefully get a 12th win of the year. Cowboys open up the door for you to still have a shot at the number 1 seed. You just wet the bed yesterday and say, thanks, but no thanks. To get into the scenarios here, to win the NFC East and get the 3 seed at this point, Eagles need to beat the Giants. Cowboys need to win. Cowboys need to lose at the Commanders to round out the regular season. That's the way that needs to go down. To drop down to the 5th seed, which is what it looks like is going to happen here. Eagles need to beat the Giants Sunday at 4:25. That's basically they just do that and the Cowboys win, then the Eagles are the 5th seed after a 10-1 start to the season. I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this team this entire year, did this team ever look like a team that was a Super Bowl contender? Because there's one game this year that I looked at and went, maybe this is it. And wouldn't you know, that was a game against the Miami Dolphins. That was a game against the Miami Dolphins where they actually won by more than 10 points. You know the Eagles have only 2 wins this season where they've won by more than 10 points? They had 6 of those games last year. Not that you needed any more fodder to say why you missed Shane Steichen, but good God. They had 6 10-plus wins, or 10-point wins last year. 2 this season. One's against the Buccaneers, it looks like they're going to face in the first round of the playoffs in Tampa. And the other is against the Miami Dolphins. Hey, look, right now, I think everyone in the NFL is envious of a team like the Baltimore Ravens who just look like they are playing, not look like, they are playing the best football of anyone in football right now. They're playing their best football of the year. And they absolutely took it to a team that was supposed to be the best team in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers. And man, oh man, did the Ravens just say, yeah, to hell with that. And Lamar Jackson being a MVP is about to happen. His second MVP, good for him. Not bad for a running back, right? Good God, man. Watching this team and watching the rest of the league and watching other teams hit their stride and do what they're supposed to do is haunting. Absolutely haunting. Let's get into... First, let me tell you guys about the Game Time app. The Game Time app is fantastic. Download Game Time app to your phone and use promo code Farzy for $20 off your first purchase. That's $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. You want to go to the big game? You want to go to the big sporting event? You want to go to the comedy show, the theater? Wherever you want to go, Game Time app has got you tickets. And don't forget about the Game Time guarantee. You find tickets in the same section, same row for less. Game Time will hit you up for 110% of the difference. How about that? They'll take care of you. That's the Game Time guarantee with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy on the Game Time app when you download the phone, or when you download it to your phone, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. So make sure you take advantage of all things at the Game Time app. Nick Sirianni after the game. I mentioned this earlier. When Jonathan Gannon, when you really think about it, when it happened, I thought Jonathan Gannon was an idiot. But the one thought that I had, okay, whoa, why would he do that? If I'm Jonathan Gannon, why am I kicking that onside kick? Why is this a good idea? And I thought, the Eagles offense has been cooking today. If they score, they're probably going to score quick, and I'm going to get the ball back, and I'm going to have final say. Or I hold them to a field goal, and my offense shreds their defense again, which is exactly what happened, and I win the game. With 5:25 left on the clock at that point, make sure I have that right. 5:26 left on the clock. You just tied things up at 28 all. You look over at Nick Sirianni and go, all right, put me away. I double dog dare you to put me away. Gives the Eagles the ball on the 39-yard line. Holds the Eagles to a field goal. After the Eagles show utter confusion, don't know the play, have to burn a timeout, run a screen to Kenny Gainwell, get Devontae Smith injured. Like, what more could have gone wrong? I mean, there's a lot more, but a lot more could have gone wrong. But then they were pretty close to doing the most you can do wrong in that little tiny sequence. Jonathan Gannon looked at the other side and said, they're going to choke this away. Here, look, I'm going to give them this game on a silver platter. I double, triple, quadruple dog dare you to put me away. They choke it away. They choke it away. So Nick Sirianni was asked about what the hell happened after that onside kick and why couldn't you put Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals away?
I think that's a conservative there. I mean, if they're blitzing a bunch of gaps right there, you're running a gap scheme that has a chance to hit for big yards that we needed to get back into it. We could have thrown it there too. We chose to go there. It didn't hit. But I think that sometimes with the gap scheme stuff that you do, it's more of you got to do some different things to cancel out gaps if they're bringing everything out, and so that's why we went that way. It didn't work. The screen, we're third and what was it? Yeah, that's tough to. You're gonna have a hard time converting, and we got to get ourselves in a range. The wind was blowing into our face a little bit on that side earlier in the game, so we needed to get in better range to make sure that we took a 3-point lead there. And hey, they went down and scored, and we didn't win the game.
What time did you put into management? Why were you without timeout?
Yep, did not take advantage. I gotta give every ounce of credit to Jonathan Gannon. He basically called the Eagles bluff, if you will. I don't know. I don't know what he called it. He called them on their BS. You've been able to move the ball all game long, but when it matters most, you ain't going to move it. And that's where I think his knowledge of the Eagles benefited him the best. And after the game, more or less, that's what Jalen Hurts said. In that situation, when he was asked about it by Zach Berman, he was asked the question, in that situation, after the onside kick, in that series, how much Jonathan Gannon's knowledge of the organization and your offense do you think helped him in that regard? Well, when you see a guy like Jalen Hurts in that series after the onside kick scramble, and neither time he has anything or anywhere to go, after the Mailata offensive holding call, 1st and 20, Hurts runs right, gets 4 yards. Meh. 2nd and 16, 26-yard line. Hurts in the shotgun, runs off right tackle, goes down for -3. Loses 3 yards. Budda Baker makes the play. It was like they knew exactly what was going to happen. It was completely sealed off. Predictable against the guy that would know how to predict you better than anybody in the NFL, and Jonathan Gannon. Hurts said afterward, yeah, he's been in the building. He's been in our meeting rooms. He knows us. He knows us. He sure as hell looked like he knew you then. Nick Sirianni on how to fix this.
Yeah, I do believe. I still believe in the guys in that locker room, the players. I still believe in the coaches. I think we got the guys in this place to get it turned in the right direction. We don't have much time, obviously, right? We got one more game before playoff starts, and we got to do everything we can do to get back on track this upcoming week. I think there's been spurts. Obviously the last couple games where we played, good ball on defense. Tonight wasn't one of those times.
Tonight wasn't. It wasn't. Tonight we didn't do the thing that we usually could do. One of the best running defenses in the entire NFL for most of the season, and they have sucked over the last 5 games. Absolutely sucked over the last 5 games. And yesterday, James Conner just does whatever the hell he damn well pleases. He used to call the man the Terminator, and he certainly terminated the Eagles' run defense yesterday. So, Nick, are you concerned?
Obviously, we're not playing the type of football or coaching the type of football we want to be right now at this time. Again, we have to go back to the drawing board and think through everything, what we're doing, and so I'm concerned. No, I mean, I don't think we think that way. All I think we think is how do we get these things fixed? How do we get these things fixed? How do we put the players in positions to succeed? How do we execute, as a team? And so that's what's going to be on our minds is how do we get these things fixed? Worry and concern doesn't get any problems fixed. It doesn't fix anything. Getting in there, grinding, figuring out what the answers are, that's what gets things fixed. Worry and concern does not.
I am wildly concerned. I am horrendously concerned that they will not find those answers that they're looking for. I mean, how can they? I'm looking forward to Zach Cunningham getting healthy because he's the best linebacker they have, but he's not Lawrence Taylor. He's not going to be making plays left and right for you. Yeah, I think your third down defense is going to get better with him, but he's not going to be sacking the quarterback 3 times, forcing fumbles, scoop and score. Like, don't see that happening. Devontae Smith, oh yeah, I can't wait for the results of that MRI. Not excited there. Hey, Julio Jones, maybe fountain of youth after yesterday's game. There we go. Let's wave some pom-poms for a second. Kidding.
For the people on the podcast, I gave a very sarcastic look to the camera on that one. So just know that if I didn't lay the sarcasm on enough, for the people on the podcast, that was very sarcastic. I do not expect Julio Jones to all of a sudden have hit the fountain of youth. Thank you.
By the way, I kept on saying 5 touchdowns against San Francisco 49ers. It was 6. 6 touchdowns, consecutive touchdowns against the San Francisco 49ers. That I can see. They're good. 4 straight against the Cardinals, not so good. Message to the team. Nick Sirianni on his message to the team from here on out.
Since Thanksgiving, I think it is. What's your message to the team at this point? What can you say to them to keep them
Stick together. stick together. Everybody's got to stick together. I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to point the finger at different things, and everybody's got to stick together, right? We win as a team, we lose as a team, and together is the most important thing that we can be right now. Still, we still have opportunity to get in. We're in the playoffs. We're gonna, a lot of teams would want to be in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. We still can do some things here. And our goals are still in front of us. Or, can you get the 1 seed? Can you win the division? I don't know. I know you can't get the 1 seed now. But, can you still win the division? Yes. Stick together because we still have goals and we still have things that we want to accomplish.
You're going to stick together because we all pretty much suck. There's nobody that's great right now. Jalen Hurts has had his struggles, certainly not yesterday, but certainly has had his struggles. Everyone has taken their turns being ass, pretty much. And yesterday, you know what also doesn't make sense to me? I like Eli Ricks, don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not rooting against the guy. But watching this whole thing unfold yesterday, why was Bradley Roby inactive? Like, you're still at a point, albeit against the Cardinals, you're still at a point where you got to win games. Don't you want your best players? I'll take Bradley Roby over Eli Ricks. Bradley Roby at least punch a ball out, make a play. Why would I not have him active? I understand that you had Avonte Maddox up and running, but I wanted Avonte Maddox to play in this game, and I'm glad he did. I didn't think he should have played as much as he did. A lot of confusion. Rashad Penny was active yesterday. Didn't see him. I thought, oh, this is great. You're actually going to have him active. You're going to use all your running backs in this game. This is great. Oh, they're going to run the ball against the worst run team in the NFL. They didn't do that till the second half. And even if you break it down by percentage, it still doesn't make sense. Even though it was only, like I've said, 5 carries for DeAndre Swift, and I think they only had 22 offensive plays in the first half. That is atrocious. Using that word a lot. I'm running out of adjectives to describe how terrible this is. Jason Kelsey was captured after the game, talking about the word frustration and where that's setting in right now for the Eagles.
How frustrating is this? I mean, you had a couple of leads.
Yeah. Next question.
Jason, late into the game, on that final drive, you guys got backed up first and 20.
Yeah.
What did you make of the play calls and what did you make of the execution?
When we got
You got backed
after
up
the
after the
holding call,
Yeah.
We're trying to run the ball and get positive yards. I think we had some plays that we just didn't execute, I guess, on. So obviously it didn't work out.
What's your overall feel, Jason, on what happened?
Offensively, we didn't play good enough. Defensively, we didn't play good enough. Really, really frustrating loss.
To be this late in the season and playoffs are right around the corner, how worried are you about where this team is?
Yeah, I think that we got a lot of things to clean up. I don't know. I don't like the word worry. I think that's a soft word. I think that we need to just be more accountable and more. Got to fix some mistakes. Defensively, we got to stop the run. Offensively, we need to be able to execute in the run game when we need to. Just not collectively good enough today.
Do you feel like that accountability?
Easy way to sum it up, not collectively good enough today. The snap counts did just come out, by the way, for yesterday's game. So this is even more reason why Bradley Roby should address yesterday. All right. Avonte Maddox only played 38% of the snaps. Played 29 snaps yesterday, played 38% of them. Eli Ricks played 43%. Keely Ringo played 70%. The only guys at 100% were James Bradbury and Kevin Byard. Nicholas Morrow played 99% of the snaps. Reed Blankenship, I think, only missed 2 snaps when he went off the field to go into the medical tent for a second. That's when they had the pick 6 from Sidney Brown. It just not your best foot forward, folks. Not your best foot forward. The other part of it is that you could have dressed Bradley Roby and not dressed Rashad Penny. It would have been kind of par for the course of what they've done all season. For whatever reason, they decided not to go in that direction. What is amazing to me is that in the early goings of this game, there was not a point in this game where the Cardinals weren't moving the football. And they get down to the goal line, and Milton Williams steps up and makes a play on their first possession, I think it was. Gets the sack fumble. Cardinals are able to corral it and keep it. Kyler Murray is able to corral it and keep it. And then on their next possession, Sidney Brown is able to make the interception on another drive where the Cardinals are moving the ball down the field. And they were able to do that throughout the game. Or, excuse me, they were able to do that for those first two possessions and kind of, keep the Cardinals at bay, the sort of bend but don't break type of defense that we know all too well here in Philadelphia. Even Jim Johnson used that expression. And then they started breaking. Boy, did they. They just broke him in half. James Conner ran right through him. Kyler Murray was able to throw right through him, make plays downfield. And the Eagles just did not have a single answer. And right now, at this point, they are left searching for those answers. With one game left in the regular season. And look, I love Brandon Graham as much as the next person loves Brandon Graham, okay? Love him. He's in la-la land with this comment after the game. I needed somebody to talk defensively that made a little bit of sense. This is where his head's at the end of the season.
I look at it like all this is building character for us. Like, it's how we handling some of this stuff. We know that we can't give away nothing. We got to take everything. And, I just want to give Arizona credit. They came in, they played. And I know for us, man, it's going to happen, and it's happening. We just got to make it through this little storm right now. But we believe in us. And so, at the end of the day, I know we're going to get it right. And I feel so good because, we're going to go out next week, take care of our business, and then 0-0 at that point. And everything else is one. It's week to week. And so I hope these guys just continue to keep learning from these moments right here because it's only building our character. It's only going to test us. And so how we going to respond? And so I believe in us, and I know we believe in us. So, man, I'm not worried at all, but it's a lot to be learned, a lot to learn from a game like this.
Good. The bell's ringing, Brandon. The class is over. Class is over. And, geez, you're about to go into med school is what the playoffs feel like. Doesn't even feel like you're going into grad school. Feels like you barely got your associates, and now you're being thrust into medical school. That's what it feels like right now for this Eagles team. And I love the optimism. I wish I could believe them. I don't know anyone that believes in this Eagles team right now. If that's true and they still believe in themselves, then great. Then you need a little bit of confidence. I think the only saving grace, I really think the only saving grace for this team is going to be in a guy like Jalen Hurts. And I know some people right now, they don't really like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts wasn't the problem yesterday. They asked him in the press conference yesterday about that screen call to Kenny Gainwell. What'd you think about it? He didn't like it. Did he say that? No, absolutely not. Just like I don't think A.J. Brown. I think the reason he's not talking is because he's got nothing good to say. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's got a lot of great things to say, but nothing good for the team. If A.J. Brown opens up in front of a microphone, that'll be it. And that man's got, $15 million coming to him after next season and then $20 million to him or $35 million to him after that season. I mean, I doubt he'll ever see that money anyway, but I think he wants to make sure that he does have the best possible chance of getting that money. He's got a good gig here. He's playing with his good friend and Jalen Hurts, even though he could go back and forth with Jalen Hurts and know it's not going to be a personal type of thing. He could voice his opinion to Jalen Hurts and not have it be a personal thing. And he's going to make a boatload of money. You don't want to mess that up for himself. He opens his mouth. He's definitely not seeing that money. But Jalen Hurts was asked about that screenplay to Kenny Gainwell. Like, hey, would you rather be more aggressive? And he's like, I'd rather just, execute. And the way he answered the question, you're like, no, he didn't like that. He did not like that play call. So I would just love to see Jalen Hurts just look over the sideline and be like, oh, is that your play call? That's cute. All right, guys, here's what we're actually doing because those guys over there have no clue what the hell they're doing. It's the only thing that can really go, Jalen, why'd you change the play? Oh, I saw something. I didn't like it. I trust. Here's where I'd go with play calling right now. All right, ready? Jalen Hurts, a pile of crap, Nick Sirianni, and then next, the last would be Brian Johnson. That's where I would be and who I want calling plays. Good God, y'all. Good call. Before I get to the chat check here, let me tell you about the great people at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. What? New year. How about a new, well-groomed you? With Manscaped, the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is here, and I'm telling you, it is futuristic. It's got futuristic tendencies. Included in this bundle, the brand new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. Take advantage of it all. And how about Crop Soother Ball Aftershave Lotion and Crop Preserver? Plus anti-chafing ball deodorant and 2 great gifts that come along with it as well from the great people at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code FARZY20. That's FARZY20, FARZY20 for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. How about MyBookie? MyBookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer when you use promo code FARZY for up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. How about Sky Motorcars? SkyMotorcars.com. Check out all the inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. And the wonderful people of PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check. Young Truth 512. Make us too friendly ridiculous. Shake my head. Friendly? I don't want to be friendly. Jason, Crash Test Covey, pretty quiet yesterday. Well, yeah, they didn't punt. Sirianni apologizing for getting angry and animated on the sidelines last week was stupid. I agree. Get angry. Camera pan to Sirianni in the fourth quarter. He just looked like a deer in headlights. Afraid. Well, that's also how he coached. I agree with you. The problem is Howie is scapegoating Desai. He is illuminated. The personnel is the issue. Illuminated. ABC123A, Sirianni apologizing, pretty angry. I concur. Did I click that twice? Probably. I'm an idiot. No, I said Sirianni, Siri. Damn you. I'm in no mood, lady. Eagles overthinking. Yeah, I saw Sidney Brown said that they're out physical yesterday. Eagles fan. Yeah, here it is. Practice habits become game day reality. Sidney Brown. Yeah, it's kind of what Jalen Hurts was saying after the loss to Seattle. Not everybody's bought in. Not everyone's committed. Great. What's going on? Leaving my cheating ex Eagles. That is always says the right thing, but never change. Ravens. My new man treats me better and puts the work in. Chavanese? Scusi. I'm not pronouncing that right, I'm sure. Ms. Blake. Thank you so much. Next year, get rid of Fangio crap. Yeah, how about hire a defense coordinator who knows the hell they're doing? Fake fans here? Stop. Brian Smith, what's up, Brian? Nick, unfortunately, has to go. I mean, this collapse is historic, but I don't think Sirianni's getting fired after this. Jalen better run as fast as possible before they start ruining him. Let Jeffrey and Howie go down alone. That's pretty funny. Linda, what's up, Linda? Don't have much hope winning against the Giants. They barely won 2 weeks ago. I hear ya. Tyrod Taylor, 40 yards. That's funny. Fire the bum. Thank you, Philly Bob. Appreciate you. That's Howie Farzy. He determines who's active and who's not. Eagles fan? Yep, pretty much. Maddox looks done. I'm going to give Maddox another game. Let him play it up. Thought I saw Babs in here. What's up, Babs? Eagles fan, Chevanese, everybody, nice to see you. Blah, blah, bloobity, bloobity, blah. Yeah, checking out the game. Yeah, it's a lot of money. DB talking now. This team sucks. I agree. Landry 215. Farzy, I don't feel any better this morning. Yeah, I'm sorry. Babs, Farzy, you're the best. Oh, thanks, Babs. Thanks, Babs. Steph, what's going on? Really sick of Sirianni rotate BS answers. Tired of Jalen's dry, emotionless, the standard talking point. How about we... That's a poop word. Watch us go 11-6. Yeah, probably going to go 11-6. What is the last thing here? Chip Tooth Eagle. Love it. Just don't understand the offensive play calling at all. I know no one does, but what the hell are the coaches thinking? The defense yesterday was atrocious. They lost because the defense was atrocious yesterday. The talking point for the offense for me only applies after that onside kick where they just completely choked. Gannon literally went, "Yeah, beat me. Oh, you can't? Ha ha ha!" Marched down the field, touchdown. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Hey, bonus me today. I'll be on Fox 29 coming up at 11:45 today, so I got to hop on over to there. But other than the Eagles. Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully the Eagles' New Year's resolution will be to, stop sucking at football. That'd be good. Mine is to eat less peanut butter. Yeah. The Eagles should be stop sucking at football. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe on the Jacob Media Sports channel as well as the Farzy Show Sports channel as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day where you do something fun. You do you today. You've earned it. As an Eagles fan, you've really earned it. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you.